just sort of a quote. And you can kind of see how this information sometimes comes from officials within the administration. It doesn't necessarily have to come directly from Trump, although parts of the references I was making was to Donald Trump's tweets. And then, of course, earlier today, Donald Trump wrapped up by making it very clear, quote, that his top priorities are a suspension of payroll taxes by employees and an expansion of business deductions for meals, entertainment, and sporting events. And that's obviously in addition to what we saw regarding the suggestion for capital gains. Now, there was also a suggestion that Donald Trump wants to see sanctuary cities eliminated. Just a quick reminder, a sanctuary city is a jurisdiction kind of like Los Angeles or San Francisco, for example, that sort of basically they limit their cooperation with the federal government when it comes to immigration policy and enforcement. So, for example, if ICE comes in and says, hey, we're doing a raid in your city, we need you to do a motorcade, or we need you to do a blockade, or we need some information from you, or we need your data, or whatever, the city might throw up their hands and say, you know what, we're not helping you, sorry. And so I know that is a big sort of Republican push to kind of eliminate sanctuary cities and to punish sanctuary cities. So obviously, as is typical with politics, we're going to clearly see a lot more aspects of debate. But some of these things I think are you know, again, not necessarily straight up checks here, but more indications of potential tax cuts, more money flowing to businesses and us as individuals. And of course, make sure those 2 free stocks flow into your bank account as well. When you deposit $100 with Webull, link down below, 2 free stocks are going to flow into your stock trading account. Also, check out my programs down below. Thank you so much for being a part of these videos and a part of the channel. Really appreciate y'all. We'll see you next time. Kevin here. So we have a little bit of new insight into what we might expect to see debated on in stimulus package number 4, our phase 4 stimulus, aka CARES Act number 2. Let me give you a quick primer just to catch you up to speed. And make sure to stay to the end as well, because I'll be talking about stimulus checks. And if you like this kind of content and analysis, do me a favor, hit that red subscribe button, turn that gray, be subscribed, be a member of the clan over here. Really appreciate your support. It really makes me feel good when I see y'all supporting the channel. Thank you so much. We know that Donald Trump wants infrastructure and spending for state and local governments. We know that Democrats want spending for state and local governments and testing. We also know that Democrats want more stimulus checks, direct stimulus payments, and the most popular, most likely from the Democrats right now is that emergency money for the People's Act, that $2,000 per month for everyone 16 years and older for an entire year of monthly payments. It's pretty good. Now, on the flip side, we have Republicans kind of with their lips sealed on stimulus. It seems like they're okay with more spending for state and local governments. I think they realize they have to do that. They're probably going to be okay with infrastructure spending. They're pissed about China, but the whole China thing is a whole other debate that we could have. Right now, the focus, though, is this new Republican bill that was submitted to the House, because it gives us a little bit of clarity onto what's on the mind of our people in Congress, which I'll tell you, it is a mess out there. Democrat Chuck Schumer is complaining that Mitch McConnell in the Senate is not scheduling any debate this entire week on COVID-19 related bills. I have not heard Mitch McConnell's POV or a response to that, other than Mitch McConnell says they're hard at work in the Senate. So now we're just going to focus on where things actually seem to be submitted, and that is the House, which, remember, we need a bill to pass the House, to pass the Senate, and then it's going to get beamed up to Donald Trump to sign. And we've got a pretty good feeling that whatever gets beamed up is probably going to get signed off by Donald Trump. Because right now, we're all looking for action. We're looking for that extra stimulus. We're looking to get back to work, to reopen our economy, although obviously there are concerns over second wave and yada, yada, yada. But here's this new bill. So now that you've got this background, we have a Republican who has submitted a new proposal, or is about to submit a new proposal, in the House of Representatives. This is a veteran congressman. He's been in Congress since 2003. It hasn't actually been officially submitted yet, so we don't know how many co-sponsors this has. Ordinarily, it's not so important, but right now, because we're all clamoring to see, okay, where's the most popular bill right now? Where are senators and representatives gathering around? The amount of co-sponsors does matter. But anyway, this proposal hits on some very Republican elements that we're expecting to see in the next stimulus package. Remember, Mitch McConnell has said it is a red line that we must have liability protections for companies, otherwise we will not agree to any kind of stimulus package. On the flip side, we have Democrats saying we will not allow the consumers or ban the consumers from being able to sue negligent businesses. So in other words, Democrats are like, no, we don't want to give blanket liability protections to businesses. And Mitch McConnell's like, we must have liability protections. So it kind of seems like there's a stalemate. Well, this bill actually found a kind of unique middle ground. This bill has to do with employees and employers. This bill is titled the Employer and Employee COVID Protection Act, and it, quote, provides all complying businesses with immunity from civil lawsuits if one of their employees contracts the disease. Now, this is actually very interesting because this says, hey, well, rather than worrying about the consumer right now, what if we just provide liability protection to businesses from their employees? So businesses won't get sued from their employees if their employees get sick, and in return, we'll give employees, this is part of the bill, I'm kind of paraphrasing now, I'll read the quote in a second, we'll give employees the right to either stay on unemployment or come back to work at their choice. This is kind of interesting because it's kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, I want to get back to work, but it's your choice. Like if you feel it's not safe, don't stay home. But employers would be required to provide PPE. I imagine maybe have some kind of testing regimen or maybe temperature